Sam lived in a factory town, but one which still had vestiges of nature, for a river ran through it, lying at the bottom of a wide valley and creating the illusion of wilderness at the heart of the city. One summer's day, when Sam had time to kill, and no one to kill it with, he decided, as he had so many times since childhood, to commune with nature. He figured it would be good for his tattered soul. And that's when he first saw her. Sam had been walking along a rough path on a ridge overlooking the creek when he first saw her. Well, not exactly. What Sam first saw was something covered by a white sheet smeared with what he hoped was red paint. Only red paint. Sam wasn't particularly squeamish, but no way he was touching that dirty sheet. So he found a broken tree branch and flicked the sheet aside and burst out laughing. A naked blonde stood before him. But alas, she was simply a dummy, a mannequin. When he'd finished laughing, Sam wondered how she had got there. Must be some fool's idea of a prank, he told himself, before covering her up and continuing on his way. And that would have been the end of it. But a few nights later, he just happened to mention it while having a few drinks. And Frankie heard him. "Where did you see this mannequin?" Frankie demanded. Now don't go getting any weird ideas, Frank. Show me." "No. Come on, man, show me." "Okay. Now." Which is how they ended up tramping through the woods in the dark. "So where's this mannequin?" Frankie demanded. "I don't know," Sam protested. "It was right here. Somebody must have taken it." "Yeah, right. No, it's the truth." "Huh. And I'm the one that's supposed to be the prankster, bro." Frankie chewed Sam's ear all the way back to their vehicle, which is where they found the mannequin. Still nude, but with the dirty sheet wrapped decorously around her, to hide the naughty bits. Sam was both mystified and frightened. How did the mannequin get there? Who had put it there? But Frankie was delighted. "I got an idea," he crowed. "I was afraid of that," Sam complained. "Try not to get me in trouble, eh?" Which is why, several hours later, the pair were seated in a car with a clear view of the plaza in front of the city hall, where they had placed the nude mannequin in all her glory. They had placed her there, then raced to the nearest payphone, and yes, there was one, to report a naked woman exposing herself before City Hall. They had then rushed back to see all the fun, only to find her gone. "Have the cops been here already?" Frankie cried in dismay. "Maybe somebody else took her. For a prank," Sam said in disgust. For he was disgusted with himself. Here he was, a man in his 20s, playing a silly prank like he was in high school or something. That was all right for Frankie. He'd never grown up. But for himself? He was disgusted. They drove away as soon as the cops showed, so as not to draw attention to themselves, and headed for the nearest watering hole. But it turned into a dreary evening. Frankie kept whining about the mannequin, about who ruined his joke. So Sam was glad to call it a night, early. But when he went to drop Frankie off, there at the end of Frankie's street was the mannequin. Frankie started freaking out. How did it get there? Did somebody know about the prank and put it there to troll him? What if the cops found it? Would they connect it to that phone call? All the drama made Sam even sorrier he'd gotten involved. In the end, Frankie decided to take the mannequin home with him. About the only way he can get a woman to spend the night, Sam thought, with disgust. He went home, went to bed, fell asleep, and dreamed. He dreamed he was back in the woods, walking along the rough path atop the ridge which overlooked the creek. Once again he saw the white sheet smeared with what he hoped was only red paint. He felt compelled to pull it off, but a wave of intense fear made him hesitate. He felt like the girl afraid to pull the mask off the Phantom of the Opera. So he hesitated, and hesitated, and hesitated, and then tore it away, and screamed. There was a mannequin there, but it wasn't a nude blonde. It was Frankie, a lifeless mannequin of Frankie. He woke up screaming, and found them standing at the foot of his bed. Two mannequins, the blonde and Frankie, and their plastic arms were reaching towards him, and... The disappearance of Frankie and Sam was a 9-day wonder, which means that by the 10th day, it was completely forgotten. But this story has an epilogue. One night, Dave, a former friend who had forgotten all about Frankie and Sam, was walking down a sketchy street in a sketchy part of a sketchy city when he glanced at the display window of a seedy second-hand store and stopped dead. There were 3 mannequins in the window, some blonde and Frankie and Sam. Now, most people would have been shocked into immobility, but after a moment of staring, Dave shrugged and continued on his way. After all, he always knew those guys were a pair of dummies. If this is your first visit to my channel, please consider subscribing. My name is Warren, and I write and tell original ghost stories and original horror stories featuring such cryptids as the Night Floaters, werewolves, and the Black-Eyed Children. So again, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Subscribe. Till midnight. Cheers. Images used in today's video, courtesy of Pix here. That's PX here. While the music was a classic ghost story by that patron of the internet, Kevin MacLeod.